They're both open.
I need a microphone.
Oh, microphone. I don't have a microphone, but let's everybody listen up, please.
So to close out the night, I'm going to be, of course you probably know about my project called War of the Martian Ghosts. So actually I'm trying to do an avant-garde opera on this, based on my 1998 improvisation that I did on the Kutzbah PC-88. That's itself. I used what's called Symphopex 1. It's a palette that uses these bass sounds. That refers to like things like War of the Worlds and all like that. You know, HD Buzz and all that. But so here's a bit. So I have these. I only have a few tapes, but this is like have a to cover some of the pieces that I've had the original 2018 album of War of the Martian Ghosts that was released at the Hideout. So there's one for $3, there's one for $5, and then there's a more complete one for $10. And then but I also have a lot more where it came from that's not related to the opera. So I'm trying to give away a bit of the script and all this stuff, and then because I don't want everyone because you want to get a little bit of it. I'm also going to have some sign-ups for characters. I have. So here's the synopsis before I do some selections. It's going to be like something like a pilot line. Something like a pilot line, like from the screenplay. The year is roughly 3050. I actually did it also. I couldn't memorize it, so I had to do that out of these. The year is roughly 3050. There seems to be a civil war in a section of post-futuristic Mars, instigated by Lord Dreger and his army, the Purple Fatales and the Forces of Bad, or PFFB for short. Although his evil cabal started small, there would possibly become a widespread threat to the rest of the Red Planet. Meanwhile, somewhere near the top secret Area 51, which is somewhere in Nevada, the new recruits of the Anti-Invasion League, the AIL, were doing some boot camp training, and then they are suddenly called up to duty. So they go on a special spaceship that will zoom them to Mars in about several hours. Once there, their marching orders are given ASAP. Locate Dreger and the PFFBs and fight them until they surrender. But will all of the AIL recruits survive the fight and come back to Earth, or will they all of them be wasted on Mars? So that's a little bit like I did a script. It's not a screenplay, but it's a little bit like a pilot line. So I'm going to do a little. I'm not going to do all of it, but I'm going to do stuff that I'm going to like do some singing, some of these things. So because this is going to be an avant-garde opera, it's not an avant-garde opera without singing. So. So I was thinking about this when the AILs are called up to fight. It would be called. I think I was going to try to put down in the script Operation Viola, and therefore would be called Dreams of Being Viola. So this is going to be like a little bit like the opening, and it's going to be. This is the first time I've done it. Operation Viola. purple for towers and the forests of man are the Martian ghosts. Right. Operation Viola. We're at war. We must fight against the Martian ghosts with might. The next one is actually, of course, I composed it in 2000 as Acid Rain, and but then it was renamed in the 2018 album as An Unusual Welcome Parade. This is when the AOLs finally land on Mars, but I did a vocal version, but this time this is going to be a piano only version because I was trying to make this like avant-garde opera, something like trying to make it like fit to like if you want an instrumental or lots of vocals or something like that. That's the price I pay for being a work in progress. But it's so now see why it's why it's going to be called Acid Rain. now I'm going to do a little bit of something you may have seen in the album, I've done the album Bandcamp, but this is actually an addition since I'm trying to do a avant-garde opera. Well, you may have heard of what's called Marching the War. It appeared on Bandcamp, but this is going to be, I'm adding the lyrics, my own lyrics. And this is actually just before the AILs go to war. And then I'm going to do some it's going to be and after that I've done a little bit of singing, there's going to be a little bit of an instrumental. And actually it's more of it's an instrumental that ends a little bit scared. It starts out as a funeral march, and then the orchestra picks up. I'm thinking of an orchestra trying doing this, and then so. We are marching off to war. We are marching at the door. Martian ghosts have to go away. Yes, destroy them without delay. Forget the stories of the blood. These Martian Martians make us sob. Let us fight till we win or die. All will then well be well with peace. Oh my. So actually, I'm going to do two versions of War of the Martian Ghosts. The instrumental and the song that's much different from it. So it's just because, of course, it is without saying about that. So it's an improvisation, and that first one I'm going to do is a piano improvisation, actually based out of some effects too. So, but actually I transcribed that for piano, and this is going to be much different. This is when the PFFBs and arrows are at war. So, imagine the space, they call the space sounds. So all this. And now there's the contrast. But so from this very avant-garde random improvisation, I change into a samba. This is actually probably going to be like the something that's going to probably in the opera. But I'm going to do some singing and all that. And then the good news is I have the harmony in my head. And it's going to be called the War of the Martian Ghosts song. But it's not. So this is my debut. And regrettably it's not on this, but on the CDs or the pictures. So, but I'm trying to just play with the changes. And then so I think it's I have something. Here's the first time I ever have done something that I have the harmony in my head. This is the fight in space. We had to bear within the frame. When the AIL, the soldiers on that mission day, raising up face the PFD band who here on the floor. No. Let me try again. Let's try again. This is the fight in space, and we have to bear within the frame. With the AIL, the soldiers on that mission day, fighting against the PSB band who are the foe, and nipping them in the bud until there are no more. This is the war of the Martian, fighting the planet Mars with lowering hosts who fight with sticks with doing supremacy and stop the enemy. Stop the enemy. The friendly forces are called the anti-major league. On the other side are the purple fatales and the forces are back. The friendly side was led by Captain Flint, who took the race against the PFF group who set off blind
This is the war of the Mars. Right and landed Mars. The hurricane goes to high school. This with wins supremacy. Stop the enemy. Yeah, stop the enemy. Yes, the war of the mountain goes right in the planet Mars. The hurricane goes to fight with sticks. To win supremacy. Stop the enemy. Yeah, stop the enemy.
That song needs to be modified, but of course it will include the chorus, and then of course, and then so that's why you have these. But it's going to. Are you ready for an encore?
Yeah.
So this one is going to be also coming from the Bandcamp album, but I'm enhancing it. This is known as the Aftermath, but sometimes it's called Look Up Right at the Stars. And then, so it's this is after they fired him, she said. So I actually, no, let me see. No. Let me see if it's, yeah, so this is gonna be like, yeah, it's a sort of a chill out song in 13/4, and then sometimes some time changes in this. Okay, here we go. Up right at the stars, dance under the stars, yes, dancing at night, yes, frightful aftermath, scary aftermath, perfect to the power of dance and our sight. Mars will rise in pure restoration from this bad war that has ended for us now. Martian community, when we peel all this doom, so there will be relax now. Right at the stars, yes, under the stars, yes, shining at night. Right at the stars, dance under the stars, yes, shining at night. Stars also could mean that my Martians roam out in space, so we must be careful now. Stars also could mean that Martians roam out in space, so we must be careful now. I missed that line called Well, it's so for right now. Under the Stars dance. I think I'm going to do one more encore, and then that'll be it. And this is also another chill out, almost a little bit like the previous one. It's also coming from. It's called Foggy, Cloudy, and a Little Windy, and I think it comes from like a different title. And the good news is, this has material that's not going to be on there, but there'll be some. The Foggy, Cloudy, and Windy will be there, but I added something before. And then this is going to be the last song. And then so. Corpses of soldiers wasting. AILs, PFFBs did combat, and rifle them will be hasting. The fog and clouds and wind are forcing us to think about restoration. We honor those who took the sacrifice, those AIL soldier nation. The planet Mars is in a state of mending. How can the planet Red Coal are we ascending? The planet Mars is in a state of mending. How can the planet Red Coal reascending? When was the future for our great ending? All the cloudy and the widow. Martians, restoration in Mars. We see now no worries about warring nations. Restoration we see, and hope for peace and no more combatant actions. All is restored. So actually, here's the story about. Now, 2019, I was about March. I was about to get this avant-garde opera ready. Sign up sheets for characters, all this stuff, and then I was supposed to do it at the Hideout, and then the pandemic struck. So what I was going to do at the Hideout, I couldn't even do, and especially during the lockdowns. I had to go back to my soul and figure out how I could do that just with everything canceled and including even probably the rehearsals. I had to figure out what I could do. So good news is this week was a field day. I added some enhancements to the like from the album you may have like got, and then it's just I'm going now since COVID-19 thing is over now, it's time like I had to get out of the shell and then do a little bit of what you're going to see. So I have the sign-up sheets of the characters over there, and in addition to the War of the Martian Ghost thing, I have a lot more of some from my previous DIY projects from shows I performed and all that. And in addition to that, there's also classical recordings. I don't have avant-garde stuff only. So eventually, this is going to be a complete avant-garde opera after you saw a gist of what is going to be happening. And then, so, eventually, I might do this at No Nation, maybe, something like that, or something like that that's going to be like, has a lot of space, something like that. And then, so that's all I was thinking of, and then just eventually. So, until then, that's it. There'll be more on just because you probably need like because of cast. I realize I need about 50 cast members, maybe 60. Not just performers, actors, all that stuff. I may need an orchestra, and and I know where to go to because I need since COVID this crap is done. We need to get that going. Thanks a lot.